America is in a state of collapse. The republic is coming apart at the seams. The clearest evidence of this was on full display in the United States Senate yesterday. What unfolded was shocking, bordering on farce. But more than anything, it exposed the cancerous condition of the American republic. Let's check it out.
They are going to transfer Texas National Guard units to the state of Illinois. What's the rationale for that?
Yeah, Chairman, as you shut down the government, you voted to shut down the government, and you're sitting here, our law enforcement officers aren't being paid. They're out there working to protect you. I wish you loved Chicago as much as you hate President Trump. And currently, the National Guard are on the way to Chicago. If you're not going to protect your citizens, President Trump will. Senator Whitehouse, you sit here and make salacious remarks, once again trying to slander President Trump left and right, when you're the one who was taking money from one of Epstein's closest confidants, I believe, I could be wrong, correct me, Reid Hoffman, who was with Jeffrey Epstein on multiple occasions. And the senator sitting right next to you tried to block the flight logs from being released. Yet you're grilling me on President Trump and some photograph with Epstein.
This is supposed to be an oversight hearing.
Oversight?
Excuse me, you can attack me after my time is over.
You've attacked all of us, including President Trump, for your entire career.
You can attack me later, and I know you've got plenty of canned attacks. We've heard them all day today.
Canned attacks on you?
This is supposed to be...
No one needs a canned attack on you.
Regular order, Madam Chair. I'm trying to speak. I think it's valuable that the American people get a sense of what you've refused to answer today. So these are just some of the questions you refused to answer, or have answered with personal attacks on members of this committee. You were asked whether you consulted with career ethics lawyers, as you promised you would do during your nomination hearing, when you approved the president receiving a $400 million gift from the Qataris. You refused to answer that question. You were asked who or what role you may have played, or who played the role in asking that Trump's name be flagged in any of the Epstein documents gathered by the FBI. You refused to answer that question. You were asked whether Holman kept the $50,000 bribe money. You refused to answer that question. You were asked whether Holman paid taxes on the $50,000 bribe money. You refused to answer that question. You were asked, did career prosecutors find insufficient evidence to charge James Comey? You refused to answer that question. You were asked, how are military strikes on these boats in the Caribbean legal? And you refused to even answer that question.
Senator Adam Schiff of California laid out in detail the questions that Pam Bondi, a belligerent, incompetent, and thoroughly corrupt former Qatari lobbyist and registered foreign agent, refused to answer. She declined to explain what she knew about what she described as blatant corruption involving Trump enforcer Tom Homan, who allegedly walked away with $50,000 in a bag. Then there is Kristi Noem, posed theatrically on a rooftop overlooking what she called the Portland war zone. Look at the image. Does it resemble a war? Is there any sign of hand-to-hand combat? Any evidence of an active battlefield? And finally, Stephen Miller. In a recent interview, Miller plainly articulated a philosophy chillingly familiar from history: the logic of authoritarianism, the justification of dictatorial plenary power. It was not subtle. It was the language of regimes that abandon democracy altogether.
The administration filed an appeal this morning with the Ninth Circuit. I would note the administration won an identical case in the Ninth Circuit just a few months ago with respect to the federalizing of the California National Guard. Under Title 10 of the U.S. Code, the president has plenary authority.
Stephen Miller has made his position unmistakably clear. He has expressed open contempt for half the country, branded dissent as terrorism, and hurled obscenities at those who oppose him, calling them enemies of the state. This is not rhetoric meant to persuade. It is rhetoric meant to intimidate. Now we see Texas National Guard troops deployed into the land of Lincoln, one state effectively inserting force into another. There is no credible justification for this, beyond politics, no emergency, no necessity, only an assertion of dominance. It is an abuse of power without precedent in modern American history. And with each step, Donald Trump provokes more violence, more instability, more chaos. Pam Bondi is not merely a disgrace. She is a symbol of what this moment rewards: dishonesty, extremism, and the reckless intoxication of power. She is eager to wield that power and eager to abuse it. Around Trump, voices are now openly calling for the United States military to be used against American citizens, to kill dissent in the name of order. This is not speculative. It is not a movie. It is happening now. The constitutional order is eroding. American civilization, the most advanced democratic experiment in human history, is coming apart. This is a moment in which a government supposedly of the people, by the people, and for the people has turned against the people themselves. Elected officials and public servants have turned not only against their fellow citizens, but against the flag they claim to defend, the principles that gave the nation life, and the very idea of decency. They have turned against patriotism itself. They are operating as a gang, and their work is destruction, the deliberate dismantling of the American Republic. The greatest tragedy in American history may not be the coup attempt of January 6th, 2021, but the indifference that followed it, because the lesson absorbed by the man who incited that coup was simple and dangerous. I can take everything from these people because they are too weak to stop me. That lesson, fully internalized, is the most dangerous belief a fascist can hold. And now, seeing only softness and submission, Donald Trump is prepared to act again with real guns, real tanks, real bullets, and real helicopters. The enemy he invokes is fictional, but the consequences are real, and the truth must be stated plainly. The people being cast as the enemy are the American people themselves. Some insist there is no crisis. Others redirect attention to imagined threats in universities or academia. Many of those voices now run powerful newsrooms. And they do not want you to see what is happening. They do not want you to understand what you are losing.